It is week 4 of building a startup from scratch until we have a 9-figure exit or we crash and burn. We did 81 posts in 28 days across 4 social platforms. Only one actually moved the needle forward. I'm going to tell you which one in just a second. But first, LinkedIn did something this week that will change how we create content and how we use AI. This week I sat down and pulled every number. Let's take a look at the results. 81 pieces of content, 22,700 impressions, 331 new followers across all the platforms. YouTube hit 9,500 views, and this has basically been our first real month. Not bad on paper when it comes to content. But here's the thing, when you actually look at the results of what pushed the needle forward, it was these videos. It was this series of me doing the weekly recap of how our startup is performing. However, when it came to the platform tips, the educational videos, the tool comparisons, the video and the algorithm and the public didn't really endorse it. No one really wanted to see those videos. And I totally get that. Why? Because I don't have the authority or the credibility in the space, at least when you look at my follower count, to really teach people content. So I don't take that personally. The algo is going to decide where we go next. And so that ended up us having to sit back and look at our content strategy and continue to iterate it, continue to restructure it. And I did not go into this expecting to knock it out of the ballpark on the first go. We're going to iterate every 2 weeks on what kind of content that we produce. We're going to A/B test. It's going to take months, if not years, to really hit the jackpot. And I completely accept that. So here's the first iteration. Here's the things that we're changing. We're going to completely cut out the educational videos, or we're going to minimize the amount of educational videos that we produce around what works within the algorithm. Instead, we're going to shed more light on the types of content that other major content creators across the 5 different platforms create. And we're going to deep dive into what made their content pop, what got them the views, what got them the engagement. We're going to dissect the success and analyze what really made their videos pop and work and what got them the popularity. I've also spent a considerable amount of my time working on Jarvis. That's what I'm calling my OpenClaw. I'm calling it Jarvis. Yes, I'm stealing that from Iron Man. I spent maybe 5 to 10 hours this week on Jarvis once again, trying to figure out a way to get him to post on Vista Social. So Vista Social is the platform that we use for scheduling, and it's got APIs and MCPs on integration between Jarvis and Vista Social such that we can actually schedule. I can tell OpenClaw, I can tell Jarvis to schedule the content out without even needing my editor's involvement. Now that has proved to be quite challenging because of all the different criterias and all the different settings that you have to set up, coupled with the fact that posting is the last critical step. It's the last line of defense that you have before the content gets out there. So you want to exercise command and control over the kind of content that you post out there. And so I'm still working on that such that our editor can actually focus on the editing portion versus worry about going into Vista Social and manually having to enter all the information, taking up hours away from his week, as opposed to focusing on what our editor does best, which is edit these videos. Now, LinkedIn quietly rolled out something called content credentials this week. And I only noticed it after we posted an AI image of one of Shukri's posts. Shukri being the CEO and co-founder of ContentStash, as well as Caesar Health. And as we generated an image for one of his LinkedIn posts, we noticed this little tab in the top left corner called content credentials. And when you pan your mouse over, you're going to see the fact that LinkedIn actually picks up on the fact that you've generated an AI post. And it's built on the standard called C2PA. It's basically a digital fingerprint that tells your audience whether an image was made by a person or generated by AI. So it's basically a digital fingerprint that lets the user know whether or not it has been generated by a person or by AI. Google's already issuing those certificates, and LinkedIn is now showing those to people. And so that's going to change the game moving forward. When it comes to content, AI is going to identify whether or not something's AI generated. It's going to let people know. And so if AI knows that you're posting AI, how is that going to affect content production moving forward? People probably will prefer real content as opposed to synthetic content, the algorithm will probably turn down the engagement on posts that are assigned as AI because people are slowly rebelling against AI content and AI slop. Another topic I wanted to mention is that I spent a considerable amount of my time debugging the website this week for ContentStash using Supabase and Bolt to build the website. Turns out using low-code vibe coding tools can result in some challenges when it comes to maintenance, because if you don't log into those tools for a while, they end up putting those projects to sleep. And so, for example, because Supabase on its own disconnected from Bolt, disconnected from the website, I wasn't able to collect leads. So that brings our total lead count to 11 this week, up from 8, only adding the 3 people that I've interviewed this week into the list of people that are on the wait list. That's all to say that be aware of any free trials that you have with Supabase or with Bolt to build your website, or Supabase to collect information from the website, because they're gonna end up sleeping on you, and it's worth testing your funnel at least once a month to make sure that lead collection and stuff like Calendly, stuff like Typeforms is actually collecting your information as opposed to something being broken in your system. Now, here's my question for you this week. When is the last time you went through your own funnel? Like, submitted every form, clicked on the links, scheduled an appointment. When's the last time you went to your own website or went to your own ad and have gone through the entirety of the funnel? Because it's something that we always leave till the very last. And we assume everything works because leads are continuing to come in, but in all reality, something within the system might be broken. Just some food for thought. Try it and you might be surprised. Until next week.